special guest
who it
is being.
I have a guess as to who that is, but you won't tell me anyway. So, but I know who the first one is because I figured it out because I'm smarter than you think I am.
Well, there's no. I'm going to tell you.
You're going to tell me?
There's no way I'm going to tell you.
There's no way you're going to tell me.
Tell you.
I have Jedi mind tricks, y'all. I have Jedi mind. I'm going to work my mind tricks on the Derek Star. I'm going to hypnotize him, and he's going to be like, Heather, guess who it is? And I'll guess, and he'll be like,
wow. Whenever you zap in Tunestr now, listen. Whenever you zap in Tunestr now, the whole screen lights up with a lightning bolt.
Okay, that's cool. Our people will get that, and I think anybody. The pre-show meeting didn't include this.
Welcome to the Soapbox Sessions. Imagine this, an open and free internet where voices are never silenced, where causes aren't shadow banned, and where no one can be deplatformed. It's real, it's here, and it's happening on Nostr. So what exactly is Nostr? It's a worldwide community of everyday people working to decentralize the internet. On Nostr, you can build websites, communities, social networks, apps, and more. One login works everywhere, you own it, and no one can take it away. No more juggling dozens of platforms, chasing audiences, or managing a giant password list. And the cherry on top? Nostr allows for built-in digital payments that can come from anywhere in the world. On Nostr, value flows as freely as ideas. We're hooked on decentralizing the web, and we think you will be too. So now, let's hear from your hosts, Derek Ross and Heather Larson, who are working to grow Nostr one vibe at a time.
Heather and Derek coming to you, not live, but still far apart. But Derek, we will be together soon.
But we're live right now together, though, Heather.
We are,
I think
but
that counts.
But not the same place IRL yet. It's coming though.
No.
Vegas, we are coming for you. Vegas, get ready for the Derek and Heather takeover.
You know what? If we would have had ample time and I wasn't going to be running around like a chicken with his head cut off, it would have been really cool for us to do a live in-person show together.
I know.
Right?
Well, we did last year in Vegas from the Bally High Golf Course. We did Pleb Chain Radio live. It was me and QW and you and all kinds of random people.
Stage.
That I grabbed.
QW grabbed my thigh on stage and I side-eyed him, and he's like, I'm doing that for the plebs.
I did confirm some of his behaviors. He is engaged in with you. He has not denied it. He has confirmed it, actually. So it's an interesting relationship. Interesting bromance. It
was hilarious. Like, in the middle of me being really serious and talking about something, I just feel a large hand on my thigh and a squeeze, and I just side-eye him like, what
large
the fuck?
hand.
Here we
are talking about it. Like, what happens in Vegas apparently did not stay. Not when it comes to QW, who, by the way, has been absent from Nostr for some time because he is working very hard on the family business. But I confirm that he is well, and he sends his regards to folks. But he is just nose to the grindstone right now. Just as an aside,
I miss him.
He's all.
He hasn't posted in a while. I sent you give him a yell and. Call him a few names, friendly and unfriendly, because I did send him a message maybe 2 months ago saying, hey, man, I haven't heard from you in a while. I hope all's well. And he read it, but he didn't respond.
No, he's
going to grab my thigh and then never talk to me again? Like, what the hell?
He ghosted you. He got what he wanted him.
What am I, QW? What am I, a piece of meat? Come on, man.
Yes, you were a piece of ostrich meat. No, he's the boss now. He's busy. He's got a
I know. He
new lifestyle.
Took over the family business, running things. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm happy for him.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Maybe we can get him to do his company website with Shakespeare, but we'll more on that.
That'd be pretty cool.
I'm still on the subject of Vegas.
NOS Vegas, NOS Vegas is coming up here on April 28th. That's Tuesday, April 28th. We are running all night long from 7 o'clock until 1 a.m.
Until they kick us out.
We're going to start off in the beginning of the night in the Grow Nostr room. We're going to have some talks from Heather and myself and Paul from I almost said Damas. Sorry, Paul. Paul from Primal. I'm getting them mixed up. There's too many apps.
Shirtless
the ecosystem
Paul
is growing.
Shirtless Paul with the amazing hair.
Primal. He does have amazing hair.
He does. I am so jealous of that hair.
We're going to have Eric from Portland talking about everything Nostr and Bitcoin and using that to grow an event, and we're going to have new talk from Carr and Christian from OpenAgents.
Awesome.
That's really cool. I'm excited to hear what they're going to say.
Yeah.
And we're going to have some Web of Trust thrown in there as well. So yeah, we have a little bit of something for everybody. And that's just the first like hour and 10 minutes. Then we're going to move into the music, and we're having Sara Jade. We're having Abel James. We're having the Higher Low. Didn't forget you this week. And then we're going to head upstairs.
Mea culpa.
Then we're going to head upstairs, and we're going to have DJ Tatum Turnup turn the music up.
All
and
right,
at some point in the night, we may have 1 or 2 special guests.
1 or 2?
Wow. Yeah.
That's
one
amazing.
Is confirmed. The second special guest is being worked on at this time.
I have a guess as to who that is, but you won't tell me anyway. So, but I know who the first one is because I figured it out because I'm smart, smarter than you think I am.
Well, there's no. I'm going to tell you.
You're going to tell me?
There's no way I'm going to tell you.
There's no way you're going to tell me.
You.
I have Jedi mind tricks, y'all. I have Jedi mind. I'm going to work my mind tricks on the Derek Star. I'm going to hypnotize him, and he's going to be like, Heather, guess who it is? And I'll guess, and he'll be like,
well, you'll just have to come and find out, I guess.
It'll be fun.
Sometimes so we're going to do the thing here in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. Please come and hang out with us. We would love to see you there.
Can I just add that it's the best ticket in town because it's
$21.
$21. I mean, everything else costs so much more because, Vegas and, conference hype, I should say. There's some prices that are a little high, I would say, but this one's packed with value because why not? We're doing value for value music. Tunstr's going to be streaming live for you kids at home who didn't make it to the show. IRL, you got to watch online. You got to watch on tunestr.io, TUNESTR.io. Don't spell it like cartoon. It's Tunestr like
well, I'm going to give you a little bit of a hot tip coming right off the presses.
Bring it, bro.
Tunestr 2.0 will be launching here very soon. And
really?
you will be able to stream or watch the stream from a brand new experience here in a couple weeks.
Exciting.
New features.
Tunestr 2.
Code. Tunestr 2. Tunestr squared. Like
Tunestr squared.
Yeah.
It's time. It's time for a lot of things in the space to be judged up. We have the technology. So
we have the technology and we have the vibes. We've
been here.
Let's just
it's
say
been a couple years.
Well, let's just say that Claude and I, my dear friend Claude and I, fixed some bugs, added some features and enhancements, made some things pretty, and Senor Mike, he liked it. And we're gonna deploy it. Well, it's gonna be pushed today or tomorrow, actually.
Ooh, so Tunestr's gonna be working nice, looking new, getting fancy.
A little bit, yeah. Just a few updates, nothing major, but there's gonna be some social content on there. Events, an event page, a little bit more fact about us, like talking about like reasons, why Tunestr exists, what it does, things like that. It's been in the pipeline for a while, just waiting on stars to align to press go. And I was having a meeting with Mike over the weekend, last weekend, I think it was. Yeah, last weekend. And I said, hey man, we're coming down to only a few weeks till Vegas. We need to press that button. That PR has been sitting out there for weeks. We need to hit that button. So we're going to hit the button.
I feel like this is the one thing I hear you say more than anything is
him and I have that button ready to push.
Ready to push. Well, if you're listening and you happen upon this podcast and you're like, what the fuck are these two idiots talking about? Like, thank you for listening, first of all. Second of all, I think the comparable thing is, because I'm taking one for the team here and I've been getting on TikTok. So if you're familiar with how people get on TikTok, musicians get on TikTok and they stream and in TikTok they take requests, right? And there's all this goofy shit that pops up on screen. There's hearts, there's like little emoji hats pop on the musicians and they take requests because people are giving them in-app currency, whatever it's called. I see it, but I don't know what it's called. And so I'm watching this whole thing going on and I'm like, this is what we've been doing with Tunestr, and there's no stupid shit on screen, no cartoon shit, and they're just receiving the value directly to their wallet. And I feel like the Tunestr experience is a lot better and a lot more. There's less bullshit.
Well, breaking news, Heather.
Yes.
I may have added some stupid shit on screen to whenever
Did you add
zap.
bullshit to Tunestr?
Whenever you zap in Tunestr
like
now, listen. Whenever you zap in Tunestr now, the whole screen lights up with a lightning bolt.
Okay, that's cool. Our people will get that, and I think anybody.
Yeah,
the pre-show meeting didn't include this part. That was a spontaneous moment that happened there. Okay, so you're putting bullshit in. No, but we've talked about like there needs to be some sign that money is coming through, and
it's fun.
I think that's acceptable. No, I'm talking about the dumb card. You haven't seen it on because you don't TikTok. I've been taking one for the team. It's like
I don't tick and I don't talk.
Okay, let's pretend I'm a singer right now, and like so you send me some money on the TikTok app because you got to like buy credits or whatever, it's like XP or something. I don't know. It's like their own in-app currency, right? And so I'm singing blah blah blah, and you send me one of these things that you've paid for, and it just pops up on my head like something stupid right here, and it looks like an emoji like animal thing or something, and I'm like, thank you so and so for giving me a on my head. How like I know you're giving a performance, but do we really want this as musicians? Wouldn't you rather just perform your and their covers, by the way?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you rather just be performing your original music? And not have to be like, thanks for putting a stupid thing on my head, while you're like playing a piano and like trying to entertain. Like, can we make this live music online experience like less like a piano bar and more like the Tunestr experience is where I'm getting at. But I have a lot to say about the subject of music. I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent.
Well, tangents are okay there, but I understand we need to move on here. So let's talk about the next website that got a major overhaul recently. And it's not one of ours, but they did use one of Soapbox's tools. So, Heather, do you remember a few months ago how I went to Bitcoin Takeover in Austin, and then I went to a bar called Maggie Maze? We did a Tunestr live stream there. They set up a Bitcoin Lightning node. We were paying in Bitcoin for our beers all night long.
I remember that. Like, you posted a video of like you paid for a beer with some Bitcoin at Maggie Maze in Austin. It's in the Dirty Sixth, right? So it's in that music neighborhood.
It's right.
That's
right on 6th Street. It's like 2 blocks from Bitcoin Park. It's right in the heart, like you said. It's right in the heart of Austin 6th Street district there. Well,
cool.
They redid their whole entire website in Shakespeare, and they added an events calendar where all of their events, all their musical acts, and they have a music event almost every day of the week. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
It's all on Nostr. It's all Nostr events. Fucking
MaggieMazeAustin.com. So yeah, that's great. So we're starting to see people use Shakespeare to go, you know what? I don't need to remake this.
You know what? I want to overhaul my website, and I like ease, and I just want to have a conversation and build a new website for my company. And boom, they did it. They did it.
You wrote the original article on soapbox.pub about how to do that, but that's almost a year old. It might be time for a little refresh there because we also have vastly improved Shakespeare.diy since, fall,
and I think
winter, whatever.
Maybe we use them as a case study, right? They were a venue in Austin that wanted to kind of reinvent themselves. They liked the idea of Bitcoin freedom technology. They liked the idea of Nostr.
It's more money.
They wanted to rebrand and try something new, and they did. And they're doing it. And they're fully all in. Like, we're going to have future Nostr music events there. We're maybe even going to do something that you're working on there, teaser for later.
Hey,
like, it's really
you're teasing
cool.
all my shit today, aren't you? You know what's cool about this? Okay, so if you're not like super galaxy brain like Derek, and you're just again tuning into this podcast, like who are these two idiots and what are they talking about? I might be working on something, my own Nostr website. Well, it's not really mine, but it's going to be ours, Derek. It's our company initiative.
It's our thing that you are spearheading.
There you go. We put it that way. And so I'm talking to Derek the other day, and I have all these realizations of like the interoperability rabbit hole of Nostr just does not stop, right? So I'm like, well, if I want to put events in here, I went to Derek's GitHub, and I took his GitHub and I asked Shakespeare to take Derek's Plectos GitHub, and I wanted to put events on this thing that I'm working on. And it was like, okay, here you go. And it's done. And I'm like, oh, wait, but I only want it to be music events because Plectos has a little music category, so I can just put only music events into this website that I'm working on. And so I did that, and it pulled in all the Maggie Mays events just like that. And I was like, oh, that was one of those cool aha moments to me. And I was like telling MK about it this morning, and I don't think she wasn't as excited about it as I was, but
it's really
had to
cool.
be there.
Now, once you realize, once
she
you
takes
realize
it for granted because she's a genius.
Sure,
I'm not a genius.
So the first time you do this, right, when you're building something and you see a project that somebody else has, and you're like, hey, I want to incorporate something that this project did. You don't need to be a developer and decipher it. You just need to give your agent the link to the cool thing you want to copy and incorporate. And then you just say to your agent, hey, here's the code for this. I would like to do something similar. Let's do it. And that's literally all you have to do. That's the beauty of open source. And it does it. So I'm happy you're able to figure that out and add this to your upcoming hub. This is great.
For anyone finding this podcast, like I want to dumb it down ever so much for anybody who's new here, is like, I am not a developer. And people sometimes think that I am because I've worked in tech for a while. And so I can throw terms around and maybe I understand what Derek says sometimes because Derek's way more developer-ish than I am. But like, me, not a developer. Like I can do the basics of GitHub and GitLab, most basic knowledge just to like get by in this company where everybody's 1,000 times smarter than me. But like even me, I can just be like, hey, let me go get Derek's GitHub link to his project, and I want to incorporate his events calendar into my project. And that's what the open source ethos is that I can take something he already built. I don't have to build anything from scratch. I don't have to be a genius dev. I've not been to code camp, or I haven't done shit, right? Like I got through some modules on boot.dev once, right? So that's how I can work at a terminal. Okay. But I'm not even that, I wouldn't even give myself that much credit, right? So anybody can do this. So like, I don't want people to think that like I'm smarter or more skilled than them by any means. Like Shakespeare's for everybody. Open source is for everybody. If you don't know something, ask us. We're easy to find and we'll help you. Like that's how open it is around here. Like I just want people to understand that, because like you're super smart. And I think sometimes you really smart kids, you forget how smart you are. Most of the world is still like, I should do those modules on Anthropic so I can learn AI. And that's where most people are. But we're over here like we built all the shortcuts already for the last couple of years so that you can easily come in here and just poof, do it. Like you're a fairy godmother of software. Just, oh, hey, I want this thing. Poof. Of course, it's not like super duper easy, but it's pretty easy, I would say. Yeah. Why build any other way?
Well, it's only easy once you first do it. You think it sounds overly technical. You think it sounds hard. And we've been saying for, over a year now that it's honestly not hard. You just need to do it. It's unfamiliar. There's a difference, right?
There you go.
It isn't hard. It's just unfamiliar.
Yeah.
So once you become familiar, with it, using AI in these tasks in this way, it's not overly hard. So dive in. I think that's our message pretty much every week here, is that you just need to dive in and do it. You just need to spend, that little bit of time every week, every month and work on these types of things.
I'm seeing more people do that. I'm seeing more women I know do that, where they're just like, you know what? I like this vibe coding thing. This is cool. This just did a cool thing for me that like saved me a bunch of time and made this super easy. Like people are really starting to see, what it can do. That's when it's empowering like that. And that's what I think makes the difference. It's like, it's actually empowering people. You can do more with less. I have less skill probably than anybody at our company. I can spin up a website and then like pass it off to MK and she could finish it off for me and put it on our website.
That's the beauty of it. It's the advanced prototyping is what I called vibe coding a year ago. I said it was advanced prototyping. Mm-hmm. It still is today, but it's now more digital spaghetti than advanced prototyping, I'd say.
Yeah, who's that guy that stole your digital spaghetti saying, by the way? I found that one day. There was it was like somebody...
Well, he obviously heard it from me. I was the first person to say it, you son of a bitch. Oh my God. So...
Well, you didn't trademark it, so shut up.
It's fun. It's trademarked by Derek Ross. It is.
Not in this space.
It is Derek Ross trademark. I slopped it together. Actually, that wasn't slop. I came up with that with my old gray matter in there, right there.
It happened on an episode of Soapbox Sessions. We called it Digital Spaghetti, I think.
I think
it was a spontaneous moment.
It was.
Rather spontaneous.
So let's move on from Maggie May's music and talk a little bit about music itself.
Yes.
We're getting, I'll say, even more and more music in this space that is generated with AI. And sometimes it's really hard to tell if it's generated with AI. Like Anonymous,
like anything
who
else.
you recently interviewed on your show. A lot of people thought, I honestly thought that he was I don't know if I thought he was 100% AI, but I thought that he used AI. And you told me that I was wrong. You said the band is like 6 members or something? Is
It's
that
6
right?
dudes. Well, I mean, the first problem, they're anonymous, right? So their big thing is they're anonymous. They don't want to be doxxed. I mean, and so when I interviewed him, he's got the ski mask on the whole time. So there's 5 more members of the band besides him. And like one of the things that they were going to do is, well, they did a geyser fund to raise $7,000 for recording studio time, which they didn't obviously raise that money, but they're like, whatever, we're going to do it anyway. We just thought it'd be cool to like augment our costs, take care of a little bit of the recording studio costs, because it's expensive when you get 6 guys in a studio. So studio recording time is expensive anyway, so I think people thought because they're faceless, right? So this is the first time I've ever seen Anonymous' face. I just saw his eyes, and we don't dox people around here, locations, names, nothing. So they are totally anonymous. And they did say on my podcast, Radio Detox, if you want to look it up, that he's worked as a journalist. So, there's people want to be anonymous for various reasons. Sometimes it's because of their day job. Sometimes it's because of the nature of their job. But we respect that around here anyway. So they actually play those instruments. They write the songs. This is not AI. So I think maybe they got a bad rap because there's no faces. They've been on Nostr since like day one, but there's never been like a face. There's never been
Contra is somebody
we've seen his face.
I'm familiar with Contra because he's made songs for me half a dozen times, and I thought he was 100% AI, but you're telling me now that isn't the case.
Well, he kind of augments with AI, but he's not 100% AI.
Okay.
And I was like, you got to tell people this, because I just interviewed him on an episode of Radio Detox that's not out yet. It'll be out, probably by the time 24 hours or more after you see this episode of Soapbox Sessions, you'll be able to see this. So what he does is actually he creates the music with his son, and his son plays instruments. Yeah, his son's way into music theory. He's learning music. He loves to play drums.
Does his son play multiple different instruments or just one kind? One
mostly drums. But they're into this, and they've both been learning Logic Pro for a long time. It's complicated, right? So it's a lot of work to learn it. So like they use a little bit of AI. They write together. They do use Logic Pro with the instruments. Okay, so there's a process, and it's enhanced by AI. And he's like, yeah, whatever. I get shit for being AI slop. Fine, that's fine. But it's a father-son thing we do. And I was like, you need to tell people this, because he's got a Geyser Fund campaign, too, to raise funds, which came because his son was like, hey, because his son's not on Nostr. Like his family's, they're not all on Nostr. He's the only one that does Nostr, and they're not really social media people, right? So his son was like, okay, so we put out this music. How do I make some money from it? Because he's getting to that age where he's kind of questioning, like, oh, how do I make some money off of this? And he understands, Contra's taught his son some stuff about Bitcoin and sovereignty and being independent and stuff. So now he's like, oh, well, how do I make money? And so Contra's like, okay, let's do a little Geyser Fund, right? Let's just do that. And then if we make some money on it, it could be yours. So that's kind of I was like, you need to put that on the Geyser Fund page, because it's not there. It's like a super basic campaign. But so, just
put that out there. That's cool. I think the family aspect of it, a father and son team working together, augmenting their musical talents with AI. Yeah. I think that's a neat angle. That's a neat story. So it should definitely be out there. Yeah. I just thought that they were... or he was just, 100% AI. I didn't know he had his son doing it. Contra, when I zapped you, I hope you gave your son some of them sats, man. Like, come on now.
He does give his kid Bitcoin.
Okay.
So that's
good.
The Bitcoin does get to kiddos. So there needs to be like a little, like a pie chart or something, like how much of your music is AI would be a cool thing to have. Like, so like if it's 100% AI and you made it with Suno, I want to know, because I might not be interested in listening to that. But then again, in the case of somebody like Richard Greaser and the Bugle, I think parody songs are funny. And damn, if I'd had this technology when I was in radio in the late 90s, early 2000s, throughout the many stages of my career where I didn't have the musical talent to carry parody songs and create them in the studio, but I could write lyrics, but I just didn't have like the means or the time to create parody songs. And I never had anybody on staff who was good at it. Like because I did morning radio, and if you could find a guy who could do parody songs for you, like it's a rare talent. But now, like, well, nobody listens to the radio anymore, but being able to make parody songs, like to have that ability is something that I would think is really cool. So maybe I might try to do it myself, because I have talked a lot of shit about AI slop music. And it is an aberration. Like it's terrible, I think, in some ways. When it's passed off
well, I like some AI slop because I know it's AI slop. I'll say, right? Like I know it's AI slop. I know what I'm getting into. Yeah, it's a parody. It's a comedy song. I like it. I think if I liked a song and I found out it was AI slop, I might be hurt and offended.
Yeah, me too.
And then, but
it needs a label.
There's a lot. So
because there's no trust.
Did you ever watch the TV show called Westworld? It was on like 10 years ago. It was an HBO show. It's one of the greatest shows I've ever watched. So
really?
It's about
Check it out.
Just character development and sci-fi. Like I really liked it. Storyline. The premises of the show is it takes place a few years in the future. There's robots, AI robots, everywhere. That we don't need to spoil the show. But at some point,
no spoilers.
A man is talking to a woman, and I can't remember her name, the actress's name, but he's talking to her and says, "Are you real?" And she responds, "Well, if you can't tell, doesn't matter."
What? Are you that convincing? This is why I got off the dating apps, Derek, because I was getting hit up by bots, and you could tell they're bots because
right. But
obvious.
So if I end up liking music and I'm jamming to it, I'm rocking out, and then I find out it's AI. It doesn't take away that initial enjoyment and me liking it, right? Like, does it actually matter? I don't know. I
think it matters in a way. Like, I think I can easily tell when it's AI, but there's also, like we're saying, like there's a fine line where I'm like, people mistook Anonymal as being AI music when they're actually a band. And then people, call Contra's music AI slop, which he's like, it kind of is. But, there's a story behind it that he just hasn't told, because, I don't know, like some people are really bad at telling their own story of how they create. There's a person who can create, and then there's a person who can market the creation, right? Very seldomly do they overlap, And so I get that about people. But does it matter if it doesn't matter if your AI boyfriend's AI and you don't know it? Does it matter if the song's an AI song and you don't know it? I just think that people need to represent what they're doing. Like, so if it's 100% AI and it's done for the purposes of entertainment, just say that. Like, hey, I made this song with Suno or whatever, and I found a bunch of Suno songs on Nostr yesterday because I went looking and found some. And so I think that the problem is the same as it would be without AI, is if somebody's just doing something to make money and manipulate, like if you're putting AI songs on Wavelake. But the thing is, it's voluntary. So if I like the song and I zap it, whether I know it's AI or not,
I think that ultimately it doesn't matter. It's just how I would personally feel after I found out that I was wrong. Would I feel initially deceived? Would I feel upset that I wasn't able to figure it out? Would I have that emotional reaction? But in the grand scheme of things, that's just on me personally, and it doesn't change the fact that I enjoyed the music. I liked the music. I identified with it. I was singing along. It made me laugh, happy, whatever. That doesn't change those initial reactions or emotions.
I think what makes me mad is when we know that Spotify does it. Whole articles have been written about how Spotify has created AI music playlists because they're just out to get money, right? And that does, in that case, it does take away from true creative artists who do have talent and spend money on recording time and spend years learning instruments, honing their craft, writing songs in Nashville, that whole thing. So like in that case, I feel I don't want to be a part of that, by any means. But like, I don't care that Richard Greaser puts out his songs for the Bugle like he does, because I'm in on the joke. Like, I get the joke, but some people might not get the joke and be like, what is this guy doing? Because there's always one who doesn't get the joke, so I don't know. I just feel like there should be some kind of warning label, which makes me feel like the Tipper Gore of 2026. Does there need to be an AI advisory label or an AI pie chart that how much of this music, what percentage of it is AI versus what percentage did they, so I don't know how people feel about that. Because again, you and I are further along in the AI journey. We're further along in the Bitcoin Nostr journey than the general public. So like, it would be interesting to see how like normal people, real people feel about this. Not you and me. I don't think we count. I think we're too deep in the rabbit hole for our opinions to count, but yeah, maybe somebody will listen and comment. I put it on TikTok, my TikTok yesterday that like 3 people watched, but because I'm really curious, like, how do people feel about this? Like, is it a conscious decision? Because what we're essentially asking people to do is to come into the space, make a conscious decision to listen to music and contribute as a fan in a different way. Whether you're listening on Wavelake, Fountain, Nostr, Tunestr, like you have a different way that's more ethical to consume music and pay for it with peer-to-peer payments. It's just like, if you go to a show and you want to contribute to the independent artist, you go to the merch tent, right? It's just like that, but, it just takes the merch tent out of the equation. Of course, you can still have a merch tent as an artist. You can still do that, but you can do this too. Yeah. And so, it's just an interesting discussion. I'm having allergies today because you know what I did yesterday, Derek?
What's that?
I played hooky in the afternoon. I went out for a late lunch and it was so nice out that I said, screw this late lunch. I'm just going to go get my golf clubs and I'm going to go to the golf course. And then I breathed whatever was blowing in the air.
Cool. Let's continue talking about this getting replaced by AI after you die, or maybe while you're alive. Interesting trend happening. Apparently, 20% of full-time U.S. workers say that AI is already doing part of their job.
Nice.
I didn't know the numbers would be that high. 20% of the people in this survey will say.
Yeah. Saying that AI can do my job and it can do some form of my job. That's kind of insane, actually. That's like...
Well, yeah. So 50% of adults are saying that they used AI at least once in the past week for personal.
Or you and I are power users then, because we're getting a lot done.
I mean, yeah, right. Like it's once in the last hour, like,
right. It's like, I looked at my GitHub this morning and I think I had like 46 commits on a project I started. I don't remember what day, but it seems like a lot for somebody like me who has 0 dev skills.
Yeah. Like I would say that, I'm definitely, not in the once per week camp.
Yeah.
Once per hour, once per hour, once per minute.
Every 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So the next stat is 15% of workers have started new tasks at work because of AI. So they're not using it as a replacement, or they're not getting replaced. They're taking on new work and they're augmenting their task list, saying, hey, I can now do this. I can work on this now thanks to AI.
I've done this and burnt myself out so bad. I was probably facing burnout anyway, but like I gave myself way too much.
Maybe that's part of the So maybe that's part of a problem, is that maybe you could take on too many tasks and too much work because you think you're invincible now because you have this new coworker that never goes to sleep, and you take on too many tasks and then you burn yourself out. That's possible.
I hate wasting time because I grew up in radio where you're literally counting down seconds. The song is running out, and so you're super conscious of time because everything's time based. And then I did TV too, which is like, if you think you count time in radio, oh my god, in TV, especially when you're doing network TV, it's down to like the millisecond, right? So like, I'm super conscious of time, so. Which drives, I know this is unhealthy, right? I've not been able to break this habit in like 28 years, but like, I will be like doing some editing. Like I'll edit the podcast and I'll be like, I don't want to waste my time. Like in the background, I can have this other thing going for this other thing that I need to do. And like my Claude code can just do it for me. And then, so I'll have like a few things going at once. And like, I am not a multitasker. Like I've not been trying to be that person. It's healthier for me to like disengage from that multitasking urge. But Claude brings it back because I can have Claude code in the terminal. I can have Claude co-work going. And then I'm in a tab doing like my actual work. Like maybe I'm editing or something, for the show or for social media or whatever. But like Claude's doing some research for me in the background in the terminal. And then co-work's making me a spreadsheet. And so it's like, damn, am I context switching too much, or is this more productive? So I kind of have to like step back and like look at my own behavior and go, what am I trying to do here? Is it making me more productive, or is it making me more scattered? And I'm not sure. I think it makes me more scattered sometimes.
I'm more productive. I've done more over the past. I mean, I started using AI for productivity like 9 months ago, and now it's built into my workflow. I have to use AI.
Have to
do. Sure, because now I have my whole entire workflow has been built around using
It's a necessity.
AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, now it is. A year ago it wasn't, but the second half of the year it became that way. So I rearranged and rebuilt my whole entire workflow around using AI. So if I had to stop using it, I would have to once again rebuild an entire workflow and then change how I do everything.
Which would be horrible. Well, this reminds me, I think we talked about this the other day on Nostr, but we should bring it up here. They changed the tier model for Claude Code so that it won't support your OpenClaw, your bots. So like, what do you do?
Yeah,
now?
And I'm using
have to pay?
So yeah, about a couple weeks ago, Anthropic completely changed how their Claude Code authorization subscription would be used, essentially blocking access to third-party tools such as OpenClaw. So if you used OpenClaw and you tied it to your Claude Code subscription, that no longer works. You can 100% use Claude still, but you have to pay for API costs. And we all know that the subscription model is much cheaper than the per token, per usage, pay as you go cost. It's just because on average, the way the subscription works is they say, well, on average, people don't use their full subscription. Some people do, some people don't. Some people run out every 5 hours. Some people don't. Exactly. Yeah, you don't. So Heather's usage there can go towards somebody else and so forth.
I did it once.
So they play the law of averages and they think that they can be profitable that way. And that doesn't work for some users, but it does for others. So now what was happening is OpenClaw was now essentially running nonstop for, 1 million people and using their full subscriptions to the max. And Anthropic said, wait a second, this upsets our math to show that most people won't use their full subscription window. So they took that away. So that left everybody over the past few weeks scrambling how to use their OpenClaw. Do you use OpenAI's Codex subscription? Do you switch to maybe ZAI's coding subscription? Do you switch to, there's so many of them out there. There's so many different open source models. Do you switch to paying Claude fees? Do you pay per go?
What does that come out to?
I paid per go for 1 week just to see. And yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. That was way too expensive.
How much was it? I want to know.
For a week, for a week, it was like $200 just for the week.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, so I stopped.
I love AI, but that's why I keep the $20 subscription. I'm not doing the $100.
So I stopped that, and I
went $800 a month. Oh my god!
Yeah, I tried Gemma 4 from Google. That's Google's open source model that came out, and everybody was saying it was really good. So I tried that. It literally sucks. It was like lobotomizing my agent. Like he literally became overnight. I hate to say that, but he did. So that did not work out for me. So then I switched to GLM 5.1 by ZAI because that was something like $80 per quarter for like 3 months, $80. And I was like,
that seems too good to be true.
I'll spend $80 for the next 3 months. Like,
yeah.
And it reminds me of it's about as good as Opus 3.7 in my mind. Everyone's like, oh, it's almost as good as Claude Code. I'm like, or it's almost as good as, Claude, Opus 4.6. I'm like, maybe, but for the way that I'm using it, it's as good as Opus was a year ago. It's not as good. He's still mostly. The thing is I can work around his slowness and his stupidity, and I can eventually get what I want. So maybe instead of being able to 1 or 2 prompt stuff, now I 10 prompt stuff and I get what I want. So it's taking me more time. It might take me 4 hours to do something, what would take me an hour. So it's not efficient. So I don't know. I'm still using him. I'm not using him as much as I was. I'm going back to open code and Claude Code for some things now.
Like I realize that they did this because, math, it was probably expensive for Anthropic to be powering everybody's bots. But I also, like, anytime like they take away that third-party app access, that's like, to me, that's like my gut reaction to that is like, this is where the unshetification starts. Like, this is where we get really big and we start making,
well,
rules
speaking
and
of agents, so we know that this is the future. Like another stat that came out this week is that it's small, but something like 8% of AI users are using autonomous agents. So that number is still really small. So out of all of the people that are using AI, and what was that? 50% of adults in the US have used AI in the last week. So out of that 50% of adults, less than 10% are using autonomous agents. So that number is still very small and very new, and will probably accelerate as time goes on.
Yeah, I think most of the people I know who have an agent, who, like, it sounds so funny to say, have an agent, have my agent call your agent. But no, like, most people I know who are doing that are like the most nerdy people I know, like you and the Wild Hustle of Runster. Like, you guys are the two of the biggest nerds I know. Like, most people aren't building their own bots, but most people probably didn't even try Claude until the whole thing with the government went down.
100%. Like, so 62% of the people surveyed said that they're just using AI for quick 1 to 2 shot tasks. They're not doing heavy usage, and we know that they're treating AI as an advanced Google, an advanced search engine.
It's good. It's a start.
It's 53% of people use it for brainstorming ideas. 59% of people use it for writing. I think these are gateways. I think once you start using it for brainstorming, once you start using it for writing, and you're like, well, what else can I do? So I think that most people are still in the beginning stages of all of this. I know that AI has made its way into a lot of my normie conversations. I love to sit there and listen to my best friends, my closest friends have conversations, and they're like, hey, I used AI for this week, and they talk about some task. And I'm like, yeah, I did that 2 years ago. And I'm like, I've been doing that every day for the past year, but it's seeping into regular users though.
Yeah,
right?
It's an aha moment for them. It's the lights getting turned on,
It's people that a year ago I was telling them what I was doing with AI, and they're like, this is so nerdy and technical, I'm never going to do any of this.
But they're opening up to it now.
Now they are. Like, I have friends that like I said, last week we were sitting around hanging out, and there was 4 men and 4 women. And the men were all geeking out talking about AI stuff. Well, mainly I was telling them all the geeky stuff. And then I stopped talking for a second, and I heard all 4 women literally talking about how they're using AI in their job. And I'm like, whoa,
women are using
guys.
it too.
I'm like, wait,
more
wait,
women.
Let's listen. And like everybody, the whole, like, these aren't technical people. And, I'm the only nerd out of the 8 people that were there. And everybody was talking about using AI for one thing or another. It was wild.
Yeah, I've seen people all ages, men, women, older folks, not a lot of younger folks. Maybe it's, I don't think my niece is my niece is the bellwether. Has my niece gotten into AI? Yeah, they still hate it.
They hate AI
for sure.
still. Like, my daughter, 14 years old, she hates AI, like literally hates it.
Can you blame their generation? Like, well, I mean, I feel like it started with the self-checkout. Like, I had this experience where I was at a store the other day, and I was the only person at the self-checkout checking myself out. But the worker was there, standing there, watching me check myself out. And I'm just talking to her because, I talk everybody's ear off, and she's talking to me. And then I finish checking my stuff out, and I walk out of the store, and I think to myself, I just got used. Like, she could have just run a cash register and checked me out, But, like, this is how ubiquitous it has become and how accepting we've become of the self-checkout. The self-checkout line is always the longest one at the store. Always. So I usually go get out quicker because a cashier checks me out. But, like, I think that's where the trust, began to be lost, because it's like, for years we've kind of been, pushing this on society as a whole. Like, and so wouldn't you, if you were Gen Alpha or Gen Z, wouldn't you kind of like have some trust issues right now? Like you've got a Gen Alpha, I've got Gen Zs, and they are like, what are they going to do for entry-level jobs? There's no cashier jobs. You know what I mean? Like, what are they going to do? And like, my niece works in the restaurant industry, and my nephew has a far different industry that he works in. He works in the golf industry. You know, we're here in Arizona, and so like they're just trying to come up in the world. You know, they're like 20, 23 right now. Like a birthday's coming up, so they're in their early 20s, and I don't know if they have better opportunities than I had when I was their age, in a way, when I was your age, but they might have better opportunities. But I don't know. Like, I don't know how it's going to shake out. Like, I don't know what to tell them other than to like think critically and be adaptable and be flexible, and that's all I can say is like all the entry level jobs that I would have had at their age, like even as a journalist, like what could I do now? I'd have to start my own Substack or something. Like, where are the entry level jobs? Like at newspapers, radio stations, being a stringer for some magazine. There's no magazines. Do you see magazines at the checkout? I mean, like all the stuff that I started doing way when I was their age, like trying to come up through like community college to get to college, which I ultimately did. Like those jobs aren't there anymore, bro. I don't because those institutions aren't there anymore. I don't know. I'm pontificating about it, but they're going to have to be so much more inventive, I think, than we were. They're just going to have a different set of skills, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but we don't need to talk about this again. I think we do every week, but the chameleon method, humans are adaptive creatures. We'll adapt.
We have to. It's evolution, man.
Yeah.
The evolution of our brains.
Another interesting point that came out in this article that I keep referencing is that half the workers that are using AI tools at work, they're not using corporate company provided tools. They're using their own personal subscriptions. Yeah, because their business hasn't bought into AI yet. So they're using it as a hack to do better, to be more efficient, to augment their work day. Yeah, they're like, well, hey, I pay $20 a month for Claude or OpenAI, or whatever you have. Yeah, like you already have this tool. You know that AI is important, and you pay for it, and then you use whatever tools are available to do your job more efficiently. And I think now that I didn't specifically ask people, but now that I'm thinking about it, a few months ago when I had workshops with a bunch of small business professionals, I had talked to them, are you using AI in your work? What are you using? And I guarantee you all of the people that told me they were using ChatGPT, that wasn't like a work thing. They were using their own personal. Like if I think about it, it makes sense. It didn't click, but that makes sense.
What this leads me to believe is that, like I worked in a major corporation last summer. I was back at my old job doing journalism for a minute, and that's a big company, and everything was the IT was so locked down. So like I would use Shakespeare or whatever, and then I would go to the station and I'd be like, I can't do that here. Like I literally cannot do that here like that. Like I don't think that's going to work, and so if that were today, fast forward a year to where it is now with AI, would I be able to use Shakespeare, GitHub? Like, would that work? Because also the internet was slow, but like everything has to be under the corporate AI implementation, right? So like, would I just have to go to work at the corporation and use like the Microsoft Copilot AI? That's like, that would be so weird to me. Like I'd feel like I was in a chokehold, like it wouldn't make sense to me. Like I think that's also where like the opportunity is in being at a smaller company where you can use the tools of your choosing rather than being strong-armed into what corporate says is cyber secure. Because you know how it is. You were a sysadmin. So I think the learning opportunity is going to be like this: the smaller the company at, the bigger difference you can make with the AI tools. Like Maggie Mays. I mean, that's not a major corporation. That's 100%. A smaller business.
Generally speaking, though, corporations, companies are going to be behind on the curve. So if you want to stay ahead of the curve at your company, you're going to need to take the initiative. But just as let my sysadmin voice come out for a second and say, if you are going to use AI in your corporate business environment, think of what data you're giving the AI. That's company may not want you to give certain data away. So that's just a recommendation from a privacy standpoint. So go ahead and use it for certain tasks, but be sure that you understand what you're sharing and what you should and should not share with AI.
Yeah. Like if I were in the addiction field, I would have to have like Maple AI or something, like cause we used EMR, electronic medical records in there, and like AI would have been so helpful to me and all that paperwork I used to do. But
let's give an example here. So in the addiction field, maybe you need to send an email to somebody, okay? And you're talking about their addiction, you're talking about their problem and so forth. So what you wouldn't want to do is copy your all the email that you sent, or you wouldn't want to copy the draft of that email, paste it into Claude or ChatGPT and say, hey, make this better. No,
that would be
because
illegal.
you're now essentially
That's illegal.
So you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. But maybe what you do, well, Heather, I was going to say, what you could do is you could put John Smith in there, remove all personally identifiable information, right? Like, and dumb it down and change it and use it as a template. That's probably
one
okay.
Way. That's one. Well, we had an encryption method because we had one counselor who had IT experience, so we had a way to encrypt every email. But you have to adhere to HIPAA and you have to adhere to the federal law 42 CFR. Now, like for example, I work with UCSF. I'm a guinea pig at UCSF. I have been since 2012, trying to cure some diseases here. And so like what I have a number that's assigned. I actually know what my number is. So I have several numbers. I have like a number at Case Western Reserve University. I have a number at UCSF. I am at a place where I know what the numbers are, but nothing is attached to my name. Everything is attached to my code. So like that's how it's done in a research facility. But in the addiction field, you can't break 42 CFR or HIPAA. You have to encrypt everything, and like it's serious. I mean, you can lose your license if you fuck that up. So like it's very illegal. But yeah, like I have whoever. If you are so dumb and you work in the addiction field or the medical field and you copy and paste 2 words into Claude or something that's not private, like you will be fired. Like you're not going to work again. Like you cannot be that stupid. That's one of the most important places to keep information private. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think one more point that I want to hit home on for this article. I think that we talk about on the show that, you're not going to be replaced, yada, 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 that there's ways for you to take advantage of these tools. And what I think the biggest takeaway is that people that are using AI at work aren't using it because they don't want to get replaced. I think they're using it because they understand that it can augment and enhance their day-to-day activities. So they're using it as an augmentation tool versus a replacement tool. I think that's the proper way to frame it.
That is, I think it's curiosity too. And like I have a friend who got into it. Yeah. She was job searching, a fellow journalist friend. She's an amazing investigative journalist and people should hire her. But she was like, while I'm job searching, I have the time to learn this. I'm going down the AI rabbit hole, and I'm like, yeah, sister, get it. Because, we do need journalists who understand how to harness the power of AI, how and when to apply the skill of AI. I mean, like during the pandemic, if we had been able to go through the files that were available to us from the state of Kansas, which by the way, they tried to charge us a lot of money for those. And so we didn't really get them all. But if we'd been able to go through the volume of crap you just sit people in a newsroom and have them read tens of thousands of files. You know what I mean? Like we could like put the Epstein files through it. You know what I mean? Like there's certain things that like we have made interns do over the years. You know what I mean? Or we've had to do hard labor ourselves. Like that just sending in a FOIA request and then getting a dump of 10,000 documents. Yep. Like there's some things that we could actually do a better job of preserving democracy as journalists if we do have AI to help us. And on a local news scale or on a national scale, whatever. This would be good for journalists to have these skills. Now, write a story.
Absolutely.
Write a story using AI? Maybe not so much, but augmenting your newsroom, automating your newsroom activities, using AI, that it could go wrong. There's certainly a backlash against it for what news companies have tried to do this so far. But like, if you're doing these things in the proper way, it should, like you're saying, augment what you're doing.
Absolutely. And after you're done augmenting what you're doing, you want to check out my updated Nostr resources.
That was smooth.
I know. So this
I knew
past
it was
week,
coming.
So this past week, I updated my Nostr resources. You may remember me from such hashtags as how do Nostr. For like a year, every single day when somebody joined Nostr, I gave them the hashtag how do Nostr, which had all my resources and guides on Nostr. Yeah, a bunch of links, bunch of videos and so forth. I was asked recently for an updated list of resources, guides, and links for a bunch of new people that were joining Nostr. So I published Nostr. It's a really ugly URL. I apologize. It's nostr-resources.surge.sh. We'll put it in the show notes so you can find it. But there you'll find a whole bunch of videos, starting at the very beginning from like Max DeMarco, when Max is talking about social media, how can we fix it? Jack Dorsey and on Tech and Freedom talking about permissionless AI, talking about permissionless communication and permissionless money. Then we get into me talking about Nostr for beginners at Nostriga. Marty Malmy and I's talk, Bitcoin 2025 Vegas last year, about decentralizing Nostr.
I was there for that.
Decentralizing freedom. All your silos are broken, with myself, Svetsky, Pablo, and Million in Prague. Then there's podcasts such as Soapbox Sessions, friends of the show. Thank God for Nostr, Pleb Chain Radio, and Nostr Compass. Check those out for all sorts of good Nostr news. Then we have all sorts of guides from River talking about what is Nostr. Lynn Alden has a great piece on the power of Nostr.
Oh, we love Lynn.
We do. A Soapbox 101. Mary Kate Fain from Soapbox. She wrote an amazing article about Nostr 101, so that's on there. I wrote an article about why Divine is different and why Divine is using Nostr on Divine's blog. There's some other articles in there as well. Hashtags to follow, other websites like nostr.how, nostrapps.com, and so forth. So go ahead and check it out in the show notes and pass this guide along. It's tons of information. You can choose a written rabbit hole, a listening rabbit hole, or an audio, or a video watching rabbit hole. Whatever rabbit hole you like, we have a hole for everybody.
All right. And one more thing before we go. Derek Ross, tell us about Nostr Nights Nashville.
Nostr Nights Nashville. Nostr Nights 2 is coming up here in a month on May 10th, Monday, May 11th. We will gather in Nashville again to talk all things Nostr. So if you're in Nashville for the weekend for an AI hackathon, or you just want to come and hang out with fellow Nostriches, we're expecting 30 to 40 people or so, maybe a little bit more, since there's another event that we're coinciding with. There is room, and if you want to talk, we're building the schedule now. So come and fill a talking void. Come and hang out with Nostriches. Eat some food, drink a beverage. We'll be there.
DM Derek.
And Heather, you are speaking somewhere about the block party coming up
this weekend. KC Bitcoiners block party, and I'm phoning it in, virtually showing up. It's Sunday the 19th, and so there's going to be some good stuff, man. I'm going to look at the list again, because I'm going to talk about Nostr stuff. So I'm going to be talking about Ditto. We've got Beef Tallow Skincare. We've got Agent, Freedom Tech Company from NostrDev.com. And there's going to be Bitcoin Charlotte, Tom Murin, Mr. Fixit, doing a talk about the Bitcoin circular economy. So that's going to be cool. We got to give some love to the KC Bitcoiners, and that's going to be a lot of fun too.
Awesome, Saucy. Let's wrap it up. We will see you in Vegas in 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks.
Come party with us. Derek's going to be super partying. Derek's such a party boy.
No, I'm not. It's all lies.
It's all lies. I'm old and sober. I just want to, dance and have a good time. Derek might let you buy him a drink. Maybe a beer.
Maybe. You know what? It's bad. It turns bad because everybody wants to buy Derek a drink, and now I end up walking around with 2 fists all night long, and I'm like,
I know. I've been there. I've seen it.
Yep.
Oh, I love you, bro. We're going to be together in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. We're going to be in the Vegas once again, hanging out to our second Vegas together, bro.
We will. All right. I will see you there. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. And if you're listening to us on something that isn't in the value for value verse, if you can't zap or boost this podcast, you're doing it wrong. Check us out on Fountain or your favorite Podcast 2.0 app.
Yeah, if you're with the evil empire like Apple or Spotify, just leave a nice review. Bye.
All right.